was a busy night for the Buffalo Bills during day 2 of the 2024 NFL Draft as they made 3 picks over a span of close to 4 hours, and this time it was worth staying up all night for Bills Mafia as Buffalo finally made some draft selections.
Finally!
And they were certainly worth the wait as the Bills addressed multiple positions of need, most notably at the wide receiver position by picking Keon Coleman 33rd overall, and they addressed some needs on the defensive side of the football as well. Welcome back to the Bills Bunker. I'm Jake Varco, and yes, it's been a long night. I'm a little bit tired. Day 2 of the NFL Draft is officially concluded. The Buffalo Bills made 3 selections here tonight, and in this video I'm going to be recapping every single one of those picks. But before we do that, I'd like to take a moment to encourage you to subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for more content coming away for more in-depth analysis on these prospects. Let's dive into a recap of Day 2 for the Buffalo Bills in the NFL Draft. With the 33rd overall selection in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills picked FSU wide receiver Keon Coleman, who has a 6'3" frame. This is a guy who's a physical wide receiver, and he has a basketball background, which can really help him excel in those 50-50 jump ball scenarios. We've seen him in the past doing hurdles. Reminds me a lot of Josh Allen like that. Buffalo, you know that you love those hurdles. And Keon Coleman, what he's going to bring to this Buffalo Bills offense is something like what we had with Gabe Davis. Kind of a deep threat, physical wide receiver. Think a guy like Courtland Sutton of the Denver Broncos, a physical wide receiver, and that's something that's missing because if you look at the current Buffalo Bills wide receiver depth chart, before they had Keon Coleman added into the mix, it was guys like Khalil Shakir and Curtis Samuel, and I mean, you have a lot of the guys that can do the same thing. So you need someone who can play out wide and be a deep threat target for Josh Allen, who loves to sling the ball down the field. That's exactly what you're getting in Keon Coleman. And while he wasn't the most highly touted prospect in this deep wide receiver class, he's definitely someone that he's a really boomer bust prospect. It's a potential hit or miss here with Keon Coleman, and there's a lot of upside. The guy's just 20 years old. He'll be 21 years old in a few weeks, so that leaves a lot of room for development over the next 4 years on his rookie deal in Buffalo. And I expect him to be a plug-and-play player right away for the Buffalo Bills on that offense under offensive coordinator Joe Brady. Another thing that's definitely worth mentioning about Coleman is that during his time at FSU, he was a returner. And when you look at the new kick return format that's going to be implemented in the National Football League, you want someone with return experience. The Buffalo Bills have a few guys that meet that criteria on their roster right now, but you can never get enough of that depth, and potentially Keon Coleman competes for a spot as a returner on this team, but that remains to be seen how the Buffalo Bills want to utilize him if they do on special teams, but I'm expecting him primarily to be a big factor on that offense, and he's the one that's going to have his number called early and often in this Bills offense next season. And something that I really love about Keon Coleman is that he was asked at the NFL Scouting Combine about what it would be like to play with Josh Allen under center as his quarterback in the NFL. And here's what he had to say.
Man, he's a great quarterback, probably the strongest arm in the league, and he needs a guy to test that on so he can throw it as far as he can. I can go out there and get it.
First of all, I love the fact that he wants to play with Josh Allen. He wants to be a Buffalo Bill. Second of all, I love the confidence that this kid has. He's only 20 years old, and he's saying that he can be a weapon for Josh Allen. That takes a lot of confidence. Not everybody has that. And at that position, you need to have confidence, because if you drop the ball, you need to come back and recover real quick. I have faith in Keon Coleman to be a productive wide receiver at the next level for the Bills. And the Buffalo Bills addressed another need, this time on the defensive side of the football, with the 60th overall pick when they selected safety Cole Bishop from Utah. And Bishop is 21 years old. He stands in at 6'2", 206 pounds. He's a versatile defender who can play at all 3 levels of the defense, exceptional tackler, and he's someone who gets into the backfield as well. In 2023 with Utah, he posted 60 tackles with 6.5 tackles for loss and 3 sacks, along with 2 interceptions and a forced fumble. With the departure of Jordan Poyer and the expected retirement of Micah Hyde, Bishop is going to serve as a replacement that can be added into the mix at the safety depth chart with Taylor Rapp, Mike Edwards, and Damar Hamlin. And when you look at the current depth chart, I don't think that Bishop is likely to start day one. Likely. It's unlikely. But with the uncertainty at that position, he's definitely going to compete. And who knows? Maybe by the end of the season he takes over as a starter, but I wouldn't count on that. This is someone who you can throw him in on those big nickel packages because he is a big boy from the safety position. Send him in on a lot of different blitz packages. I like what the Bills are getting with this pick. Safety was a position in need for the Bills this offseason that they addressed via free agency when they signed Mike Edwards from the Kansas City Chiefs. And now they address it via the draft as well by adding Cole Bishop from Utah, one of my favorite safety prospects in this draft class. And the third and final pick of day 2 for the Buffalo Bills in the 2024 NFL Draft was defensive tackle Dwayne Carter from Duke, who stands in at 6'3", 305 pounds. That is a big man. Carter spent 4 seasons at Duke and was the first 3-time captain in program history. He's someone who is known for his leadership, and that is the type of player that any coach desires to have on their team, specifically head coach Sean McDermott. In 2023, the big man recorded 20 tackles with 4 sacks while adding 27 quarterback hurries and 37 total pressures. That's some solid production coming from the defensive tackle position, and obviously at his size, over 300 pounds, this is someone who's most likely going to be a nose tackle. Someone who's going to look to replace DaQuan Jones at the tail end of his career. DaQuan Jones, 32 years old right now. The Bills don't have too much depth at that position, so what you're getting with Dwayne Carter is someone who can, play as a rotational piece in this defensive scheme, and hopefully the desired outcome for this Bills team is for him to eventually take over the starting position at that defensive tackle spot. For now, he'll likely serve as a rotational piece in Sean McDermott's defense, and if we know anything about Sean McDermott and his defense, it's that he loves utilizing those rotational pieces. So you could expect to see a little bit of Dwayne Carter in the mix in the upcoming season, and especially if someone up front suffers an injury. Fingers crossed that doesn't happen, but injuries happen. Personally, I'm a fan of this move. You add Dwayne Carter from Duke, someone who has those leadership tendencies, those qualities are something that not everyone has, and it's a valuable position. Getting some mid-round value here, 95th overall. It's a solid addition for the Buffalo Bills and Dwayne Carter, and let's just see how they develop and utilize him going forward. So that recaps the 3 picks made by the Buffalo Bills on day 2 of the 2024 NFL Draft. Unlike yesterday, they finally made some picks, and I think, Xavier Worthy clearly wasn't the Bills' guy. They went with a polar opposite guy in Keon Coleman, a big-bodied wide receiver. Xavier Worthy, he's only 165 pounds, so the Bills clearly had their guy. In retrospect, trading down, maybe it wasn't such a bad move, but that's something that we'll be talking about a few years from now. I want to know in the comment section down below, how are you feeling about this day 2 for the Buffalo Bills? How are you feeling about the draft class so far? Let me know in the comments section. And if you haven't yet, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for more content coming your way. I'll see you right here tomorrow. As always, I'm Jake Varco. This is the Bills Bunker. Go Bills.